Danon, Israel's ambassador to the UN. Shalom.
Shalom, Yoni.
Thank you very much for coming to our studio here in Jerusalem. You're here in Israel with U.S. ambassador to the UN, Mike Waltz, and you're visiting the borders. And in the south, you're telling Mike Waltz that the Hamas is still weaponized. There's still a danger. First of all, about what you told him when you went down south.
First of all, I want to thank Ambassador Waltz for coming to Israel. His first visit as the U.S. ambassador to the UN. He's coming to the region to visit Israel and Jordan. We went to the south, to see the challenges, to understand the complexity of the next stage. We still have to receive the body of Ran Gvili, and we met his family. It was a very emotional meeting. But regarding Gaza, one thing is very clear for us. Hamas will not stay there, period. With all due respect to reconstruction and humanitarian issues, the main focus should be on the fact that Hamas cannot stay in power in Gaza.
And there is a fear in Israel that President Trump, who wants to be the peacemaker, wants to continue. Even despite the fact that there is, again, a hostage in Gaza, that there's still a danger, a threat, he wants to continue. Do you feel that that's the direction?
Well, President Trump, as you mentioned, he wants to get things done fast.
Right.
But when you read the resolution and the initiative of President Trump, it says very clearly that the next stage will be after all the hostages are back home. And we are going to insist on this point that all of them must come back home. And I hope that in the next few days we're going to have news regarding the return of Ran Gvili and to bring him to proper burial here in Israel. And I can tell you that Ambassador Waltz served in the military for many years. He understands the values of bringing back the one who went to fight for us.
Yeah. Now, when you went up north, you looked at a few directions: Syria, Lebanon. First of all, about Syria, it's very complex what's going on there. We're happy that there's a new leadership there, but we're very careful.
I'm very happy that I had the chance to take him, to the border. We flew with a helicopter to the Golan Heights, because when you land there, first of all, it's beautiful. It's so quiet and green, but then you understand that it's dangerous. And while we were there on the Golan Heights, there were incidents that the IDF tried to arrest a terrorist in Konetra. Unfortunately, we were not able to capture him, but he saw it, that it looks quiet, but actually you have elements, rogue elements, terrorists in the region. So with all due respect to the new regime, the new leadership, we want to see results on the ground.
But the question is the regime itself. There's the terrorists on field, on ground, but how about the regime itself? How do we look at the regime?
We want to look at the action of the regime regarding the minorities and regarding what's happening on the border. And we learned the lesson. We saw what happened in Lebanon. We made a mistake allowing Hezbollah to build their forces on the border. We are not going to repeat that mistake on the Golan Heights.
So
we will not allow those militias to build their presence, their bunkers, tunnels on the Golan Heights.
So this brings us, of course, to Lebanon. Are we repeating the mistake again? Is Hezbollah rearming?
They are trying to regroup. The Lebanese government are talking about efforts to neutralize Hezbollah, but we want to see actions. It's not enough to declare. And today you have diplomatic efforts led by the US with the Lebanese government, with Israel, to see if the Lebanese are capable of neutralizing Hezbollah. If they will not take the necessary steps, we will have to step in and neutralize Hezbollah. We are not going to wait forever for the Lebanese government.
Will we have the US backing?
I think what we are doing now is the right thing. We are engaging. We are speaking with our colleagues in Beirut. We are speaking with our colleagues in Washington, and we show them, the facts. If the Lebanese will deal with that, that's okay. If they will not deal with us, our colleagues in DC will understand that we have no other choice.
Another thing that we saw in your arena is basically the votes regarding the establishment of a Palestinian state. Do you look at that as just statements, as protests, or something that we need to still fight against?
Well, it's a show. It's not concrete. It has no meaning. President Macron came to the UN, delivered a speech, they had a big conference, they had a vote, but it's meaningless. And we thank the US for standing on that principle. But I think it shows that we have a problem with many European countries, that they don't care about substance, about progress. They care about headlines. It's problematic. And even today, when we have a ceasefire in Gaza with Hamas, you have countries in Europe that continue to promote hate against Israel. Look at Spain, Norway, Ireland, Slovenia. those countries, that's what they do all day long, promote anti-Israel propaganda at the UN and in the EU.
Now, there's much talk during these days about Abraham Accords. Are we going to continue? Is it going to develop? Are the Saudis maybe upset because of the war, maybe conditioning with the issue of a Palestinian state? You feel this on a day-to-day basis. You meet the ambassadors. Do you feel that there's a potential that something new will happen?
I am very optimistic. I can feel it. And I see that, Muslim leaders and leaders from the Arab League, are getting closer to Israel. We have better dialogues. And I think it will happen sooner than later. I'm very optimistic about it. And I know that President Trump, it's on his agenda to make it happen. And I believe it will happen very soon.
But what if they condition it with the establishment of a Palestinian state?
We prove that we are capable of signing peace treaties with Arab countries and showing them that, with the Palestinians, there is no partner there. We did it with Egypt, with Jordan, UAE, Morocco, Bahrain. So I think we will be able to expand the Abraham Accords and tell them, look what's happening today in Gaza with Hamas. Look at the PA today, the weakness, the corruption of the PA. They come to me while we are taking actions in Judea and Samaria to neutralize terror. And I tell them, ask Abu Mazen. He has, tens of thousands of soldiers, and he's not capable of fighting terrorism in his backyard. So they know that, we have no viable partner.
So finally, a few words about your visitor. You basically came to our interview a few minutes after one meeting with Waltz. You're going back to another meeting, another event with him. On a personal level, what can you tell us about his connection to us, the people of Israel, the state of Israel?
Well, Ambassador Waltz is a friend of Israel, of the Jewish people. He's very committed, very knowledgeable. And I think the fact that he served the U.S. As a soldier, as a commander for so many years, he understands what we are experiencing. The fact that we actually, have to fight for our freedom. And that's what we are doing. For the last 24 months, the entire nation fought. I told him, that we called the reserves, 400,000 people showed up. If you look at the U.S., it's approximately, if you got 15 million people showing up to fight for the nation.
Be like that.
That's what we are. We are patriots, and we have the same values of the American people. And I know he gets it.
And you also visited the American base here in Israel. How were you impressed there?
Well, it's very impressive. They have very good intentions to coordinate the humanitarian efforts. I think it will be complex. Disarmament of Hamas is the key issue. So I think it's important to speak about reconstruction and humanitarian aid, but at the same time, we have to focus on disarmament.
Danon, Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Thank you.